In this video we are going to show you how to make our vegan starter. Now this is very much a plant-forward recipe, completely 100% plant-based, Mark. So the first thing I'm going to do is to make some blinis. So what this is a take on a nice blini with some sour cream and smoked salmon. Now obviously every element of that contains animal-based products usually.
Yeah, completely.
But this is going to be 100% vegan, 100% plant-forward. So in this bowl here, I have some buckwheat flour, plain flour, and some easy bake yeast. In my pan, I've started to warm some almond milk. So that's nice and warm now, so I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to add this to the mixture.
You said that's just warmed through, Rory, yeah?
Yeah, just warm through. It's not too hot. If it's any hotter than around 40 degrees, what's going to happen is it's going to start to kill the yeast. And we don't want that to happen because to get those light, airy blinis, we want the yeast to start to develop and ferment in there. So I'm just going to incorporate this. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to overwork it. I don't want to develop the gluten too much. What that's going to do is it's going to make it really tough and not palatable.
So this is a job you do the night before, Rory?
You could do, yeah. This normally takes a couple of hours to prove, but overnight in the fridge would be absolutely perfect. Or would be one of your first things you're doing in the morning before you even start to get the roast in or anything like that.
Yeah. You don't want to be messing about on Christmas Eve, though, do you?
Absolutely not. So just knocking any of those lumps out, and note I'm not using a whisk for this. Don't want to overwork this batter any more than I have to. Next, I'm going to add a little salt to it. And then all I'm going to do is finish incorporating that. And then I'm going to cover it with cling film and leave it in a warm place for 1 to 2 hours until it's doubled in size and we've got some nice air developing in it. So here's one I've prepared a couple of hours in advance. And as you can see, all that carbon dioxide and all those gases have started to develop. And it's doubled in size, and that's made it nice and light and airy. I don't want to handle this too much. Again, I'm going to start to knock any of the air out of there, and I want it to keep nice and frothy. In this pan, I've got some oil, and I've just got my ring here, and I'm just going to oil the ring as well before placing that into the pan. Now, you can have a much bigger pan if you want to do a lot at the same time, but I'm just going to show you how to do one today.
But you don't necessarily have to set it in a ring though, Rory?
No, you don't have to at all. You can do it freehand as well. I'm doing it in a ring just so it's nice and consistent throughout. If you were throwing a dinner party, you had multiple guests, you'd want it to look all the same. Pan's on nice and low, only about half temperature. What's going to happen is it's going to cook at the bottom, and then once it started to cook through, we're going to flip it over and just finish it off.
Fantastic. And this is a job you could do the night before. You could prepare your blinis in advance and just run them through the oven for 2 to 3 minutes on the day before you're plating.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So we're going to go through the carrot now. So we're doing a smoked carrot. Now this is very much a take on your traditional smoked salmon, your Christmas Day morning breakfast. But again, as Rory said, this is a plant-forward starter that everybody can enjoy. Mimics smoked salmon beautifully. Probably 1/10 of the price as well, so it's well worth looking at if you're saving the pennies and saving up for a present instead. So your simple, humble carrot. This has been washed. We've not peeled it. We've just taken off any detritus, any soil from the outside. This has been lightly oiled. These have been seasoned, and they've been roasted in the oven just so they start to give. We don't want them completely mushy now because we're going to peel them like you would a strip of smoked salmon. This is the illusion we're trying to create. So by cooking it just as it starts to become tender and yielding, that's the time to bring it out of the oven. You then prepare a marinade. This is you'd say the fishy, smoky aspect to the dish. And here you go. So we've gone from your humble roasted carrot to this wonderful product here. We've got nori sheets in there, which give that wonderful saltiness. Mm-hmm. What else have we got going through there, Rory?
We've got some soy in there. We've got some agave syrup just to add some nice sweetness in there. And then we've got some smoked paprika just to add the smokiness that would be like the smoked salmon as well.
It's a wonderful, wonderful flavour profile, and I say very much mimics smoked salmon. So while Rory's cooking the blini, we can pass the. Imagine the blinis have been cooking now for 2 or 3 minutes. They've coloured on the bottom. They've been flipped over, and you end up with these wonderful little carriers here and these blinis. And if I turn it over, look at all those wonderful air bubbles that Rory managed to trap within the batter and that we managed to trap in the cooking as well. Really light, not heavy, just a couple of these as a starter, or maybe 1 or 2 as a canapé just before you start lunch, start unwrapping your gifts. This is a wonderful way to start your day. So I'm going to start to assemble the dish.
So while Mark is doing that, you can just see here that all the air has started to develop in the blini. So I'm just going to flip it over, be ever so gentle. Just start to flip it over, and that's just going to cook for another minute or 2 on the other side until it's completely cooked through.
So I've laid my blinis down. I'm going to do 3 with generous portions. Christmas Day after all.
Now, could you do these in advance, Mark?
I think so, Rory. Yeah, you could have these just plated up, ready to go, depending on the amount of guests that you have coming round or that you're allowed, depending on where you are in the world.
I know we're doing these as a starter, but you could do these as a canapé as well, smaller.
Oh, they'd be fantastic. Great little job to get the kids involved in as well, because it's one of those lovely repetitive dishes where you could have a little kind of production line going on, one on the blini, one on the salmon or the carrot, or one on the cream. So we've got a vegan creme fraiche here. I'd say completely plant forward. Now, if you wanted to be really decadent Christmas Day and you're using smoked salmon, you'd use a caviar. But we thought ahead, and we've come up with these beautiful darkened beluga lentils. And these taste fantastic. We've got that salty element to them as well. But don't they look wonderful and almost mimicking a caviar? So we're going to get those onto the blini now as well. We only need a few. They give a lovely, wonderful texture as well. So we've got that chewy, airy blini, with that salted carrot, with a little bit of resistance as you would get from a smoked salmon. We've got that lovely acidic yogurt, or creme fraiche. Lovely firmness and the salt of the lentil. And no blini would be complete without a lovely frond of dill, that classic flavour that goes with salmon. Almost medicinal, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In flavour
So
profile.
fragrant.
Completely. And again, this day and age, especially with coming into winter, nutrition being the key, we've got a little pea shoot here, full of vitamins, full of minerals, really high in vitamin C as well, really high in vitamin D, something you need to boost yourself up with on a winter's day. And there you can see we have our smoked salmon carrot blini with a vegan creme fraiche, a frond of dill, some beluga lentils, a dill frond, and a lovely pea shoot. Enjoy.
Yeah, lovely. I'm going to go and grab one of them straight away, Mark.